Hi, welcome to all fourth e-learning classes, Zoology chapter 3, session 11. Today we'll discuss blood clotting or blood coagulation process. Blood clotting or blood coagulation. Blood clotting or blood coagulation is also said to be hemostasis. There are two terms we came across in human physiology. One is named to be the hemostasis and stasis, and another is the homeostasis. So in order to avoid confusion, this is what we are discussing, both the terms related to this. Hemostasis in the sense hem in the sense the blood, that is the maintenance of the constancy of the blood volume is named to be the hemostasis. Blood volume, maintenance of the blood volume constantly is what's said to be the hemostasis. Homeostasis in the sense maintenance of the body fluids and salts in the body is nothing but the homeostasis. I repeat, hemostasis in the sense maintenance of the balance of the blood volume, which means always our blood volume remained 5000 ml or else 5 liters. Basically, human beings are with the 5 to 6 liters of the blood, which is constantly maintained. That is what named to be the hemostasis. Whereas maintenance of the body fluids and salts is named to be the homeostasis. This is maintained by, homeostasis is maintained by kidneys in human beings. That is the removal of the excess of water and the salts from the body and maintaining the constancy is a homeostasis, that is by kidney. In human beings, in other animals have their respective excretory organs. Now hemostasis. Hemostasis is maintained by blood clotting process, blood clotting or blood coagulation. We have discussed that the blood is a fluid connective tissue, mobile connective tissue, a red river of life which continuously flows and transport the nutrients to the tissues, collect the excretory products from different parts, and it's transport the hormones, maintains the heat, protection is all what the functions of the blood as a fluid connective tissue, which means healthy blood vessels in which the blood continuously flow. But when an injury takes place, the blood based on the intensity of wound or injury within 3 to 8 minutes of time period, it gets clot or it becomes a jelly like it become a clot. This prevents the loss of the blood from the injured vessels or else from the tissues. What I mean to say is the process of conversion of fluid like the blood into a web or else the mesh or else a jelly-like clot is what named to be the blood coagulation or else the blood clotting. What is the necessary of it? That is, when injury takes place, when blood vessels or else the tissues are damaged, the damaged tissues which are provided with the blood vessels or else when the blood vessels are damaged, blood loss from the body. When any sharp knife if cut at certain parts of our skin, or else any of the needle when it touches the skin, immediately the blood comes out. Generally, this is what named to be the loss of the blood. But according to the intensity of the wound or injury, the blood get clot, that is fluid like converts into the jelly like is what name it to be the blood coagulation. Otherwise, what happens? It results in the loss of the blood. 5000 milliliters of the blood will lose from the body, and all the activities of the body are suspended, and it leads to fatal. So in order to avoid this, during the time of the injury or else the damage to the body parts, wound, the blood get clot. This depends on the intensity of injury or else wound within 3 to 8 minutes of time. What the advantage with this hemostasis? That is, the loss of the blood is prevented and entry of the microbes also prevented. These are the importance of the blood coagulation. Generally, the blood do not clot in the healthy blood vessels. Why? Because of an anticoagulant we have already discussed, that is heparin. Heparin is an anticoagulant which prevents the blood coagulation. That's the reason why it is said to be the anticoagulant. So healthy blood vessels do not clot. When injury occurs, the loss of the blood is prevented by a series of physiological mechanisms which is also named to be the cascade reactions. Cascade reaction. The series of physiological events that involves conversion of fluid like blood into a jelly like clot is what named to be the blood coagulation. This blood coagulation involves, it is said to be the series of the physiological mechanisms which are said to be the cascade reaction. Macfarlane, a scientist, named it as cascade reaction. Macfarlane is a scientist who named this is a cascade process. Let me clear you, what do you mean by cascade reaction? Cascade reaction in the sense, for suppose this is a tap, right? When you on it, when you turn it on slowly, what happens? One drop, even if it is turn it 2 drops, 3 drops, and finally it becomes what is called a continuous flow, where what is happening? One drop is added to another, that to another, that to another. That is what cascade reaction. Cascade reaction in the sense, the definition I repeat, it is a series of events where one step of a reaction is influenced by another. It is a series of the process or mechanism, series of mechanism where one step of reaction influence the next step of reaction, next step of the reaction, and that influence next, that influence next, that next, and on is what name it to be the cascade reaction. Cascade reaction in the sense, it is a series of mechanism or a process where one step of a reaction. What do you mean by this? Look at here, one drop added to the another, that to another. So this is all what leading to a continuous flow. Is it right? So it starts with the first drop. The same way the blood coagulation or blood clotting process involve the 3 steps. That is, first, the formation of prothrombin factors, prothrombinase synthesis or prothrombinase activating factors. Then once the prothrombinase activating factors are formed, this prothrombinase convert the prothrombin into thrombin. Then thrombin acts upon fibrinogen and convert it into fibrin fibers. Fibrin fibers formed are in a soluble state with the hydrogen bonds are converted into covalent bonds, and all the covalent bonds between the fibrin fibers what come together form a web. So clot is a web of fibrin proteins. In between that the blood cells are stick within it is what name it to be a clot. Look at here. For suppose a person got wound here. A person is with the injury or wound here. So the first step is prothrombinase formation or prothrombin synthesis factor, which is named to be the prothrombinase. Prothrombinase synthesis. Once the prothrombinase is synthesized, prothrombin is converted into thrombin. So for thrombin formation, prothrombinase is needed. Is it right or not? Right. Then once the thrombin is formed, which act upon the fibrinogen and convert it into fibrin fibers. So for fibrin fibers, what is needed? Thrombin is needed. Next, once the fibrin fibers are formed, they are in a soluble state itself. Next, the soluble fibrin fibers first have the hydrogen bonds by a factor name it to be the fibrin stabilizing factor. These hydrogen bonds are converted into covalent bonds. This is how all the fibrin fibers, look at here, all these are fibrin fibers are what come closer, and all the fibrin fibers that are come closer what form a network, and the gaps here the cells are what stick or else they are what attached to the spaces in between the fibrin fibers and closes the wound, so the blood loss does not take place. This is what we name it as the blood coagulation or else the blood clotting process. So the process of conversion of the fluid like blood flowing in the blood vessels into the mesh of the network of fibrin fibers results in a jelly-like clot is what named to be the blood coagulation. Blood coagulation prevents the loss of the blood from the body, which is named to be the hemostasis. And it is a series of mechanism involving the cascade reactions. Cascade reactions in the sense the series of mechanism or process where one step of a reaction, prothrombinase first, prothrombinase or prothrombin activating factors are first synthesized. This is the first step. Let us assume this prothrombinase or prothrombin activating factor convert the prothrombin into thrombin. That is the second step. So if thrombin is formed in the sense previous to this the prothrombinase or prothrombin activator is formed. Is it right? So prothrombin activator converted a prothrombin into thrombin. Right? Then this thrombin what converts the fibrinogen into fibrin. So for the formation of fibrin, what is needed? Thrombin is needed. So one step of a reaction influencing the next, and that influencing the next, that influencing the next, and on and on. This is what name it to be the cascade reactions. So blood coagulation is a hemostasis which prevents the loss of the blood. When an injury takes place, fluid like blood convert into the jelly like clot is what name it to be the blood coagulation. Clotting is nothing but a clot is a web of fibrin fiber proteins where the blood cells stick and prevents the loss of the blood is named to be the blood coagulation. Generally, this blood clotting process it depends on the intensity of wound and it varies from 3 to 8 minutes of time period. You might have noticed in some individual, in spite after the 8 minutes of time or more, the blood do not clot. So that is the blood loss, named to be the bleeding takes place, which means they are said to be suffering from a genetic disorder, X-linked recessive disorder, named to be the hemophilia. Hemophilia, make a note, hemophilia. Hemophilia is a X-linked recessive genetic disorder. And this is due to the loss of the blood clotting factors, which means as long as the gene present on the X chromosome is dominant, the blood clotting factors are synthesized and the blood coagulation continues. Whereas due to mutation, the gene present on X chromosome become recessive. That's what the blood clotting factors are not synthesized, blood coagulation do not takes place, and it leads to the loss of the blood. That's what it is, hemophilia, a genetic disorder which is a X-linked recessive genetic disorder. Right? Yes. This blood coagulation is a process said to be the hemostasis, involving primarily three overlapping mechanisms. That is, one is said to be vasoconstriction. The first one is named to be the vasoconstriction. Second one, formation of platelet plugs. And the third one is formation of web of fibrin fibers, proteins. So these are what are the three overlapping mechanism. What do you mean by overlapping mechanism? That is, these are all what results in blood coagulation. One influence the another. That's what the three mechanisms are. What we see, vasoconstriction. When blood is flowing through the blood vessels, if it becomes narrow, what happens? Continual flow of the blood is prevented. Is it right? Yes, that is what it is named to be the vasoconstriction. Vaso means blood vessels. Constriction in the sense narrowing. For suppose this is a blood vessel which met with an injury. Once the injury takes place, the blood vessel what become narrow. Look at here. This is what the process happen to be takes place. Do you find the difference in the blood vessel like this and the blood vessel like this? Right? What difference you find? Here the blood vessel become narrow. Why? Generally, the blood vessel is made up of the three layers: tunica externa, tunica media, tunica interna. Tunica externa is made up of the collagen and elastic fibers. Mostly in the case of the veins and arteries, collagen fibers, elastic present in the arteries itself. So collagen fibers are present, which is tunica externa. Then in the middle, what we see, however, this is we are going to discuss in the same topic. So there are the three. One is made up of collagen fibers. One, the wall of the blood vessel. Two, the tunica externa. This is tunica externa. I have written tunica externa, outer. Next, tunica media. TM stands for tunica media, which is made up of smooth muscles. Smooth muscles. The tunica externa made up of the collagenous tunica media with the smooth muscles, and tunica interna. TI refers to tunica interna, inner, middle, median, tunica media, middle layer, tunica externa, outer layer. Tunica interna is made up of the simple squamous, and this simple squamous is what named to be the endothelium. So I repeat, the blood vessel wall is made up of the outermost layer is named to be the tunica externa, middle tunica media, and inner tunica interna. The tunica externa made up of collagen fibers, the connective tissue made up of the fibers, and the tunica media with the smooth muscles, and tunica interna with the simple squamous, which is endothelium. When an injury takes place to the blood vessels, the smooth muscles are affected such that they become constricted. The constriction of the smooth muscles, the contraction, nothing but coming closer. So this contraction of smooth muscles of the injured wall become narrow, and sometimes it is completely closed, such that prevents the flow of the blood. That's what vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction is the process of injured blood vessels, the smooth muscles which is present in the tunica media undergo contraction and makes the lumen of the blood vessels narrow. Due to the injury to the wall, smooth muscles respond such that they contract and make the lumen of the blood vessel narrow, that is vasoconstriction. The second one is named to be the formation of platelet plugs. This is what the vasoconstriction. Second one is formation of platelet plug. Look at here. Suppose if this is a holder where a plug is what placed, so that continuity takes place. Is it right? In the same manner here also, the formation of platelet plug, in the sense when an injury takes place to the blood vessels, the collagen fibers, just now we discussed, collagen fibers are part of the tunica externa. These collagen fibers exposed to the blood. Next, this causes the production of these collagen fibers bind to platelets, blood platelets. Is that blood platelets are present in the blood? Yes, it is one of the blood cells. For every cubic centimeter, 1.5 lakhs to 3.5 lakhs are present, which play a vital role in blood coagulation. When an injury to the blood vessels, the collagen fiber come in contact to the blood and adhere to the platelets. So here, this is collagen fiber and bind to what is called platelets, right? So this platelet and collagen mixture, platelet and collagen. Look at here. This is a platelet and this is the collagen. This complex, platelet and the collagen, what release some secretions are released. I repeat, the injury to the blood vessels, the collagen fibers exposed to blood is with the blood platelets. Blood platelets are thrombocytes. These blood platelets and collagen what fuse and form a complex. This complex release secretions. These secretions attract the platelets to the already fused platelet and collagen. This is how all the platelets come closer to the collagen fiber complex. It becomes sticky and reach the wound and closes it. This is the platelet plug formation. The third step is formation of a web of fibrins, where if an injury takes place, the collagen fibers exposed to the blood, where already platelets are there, this platelet and the collagen fibers of the injured wall and tissues stimulate the production of activating factors. These activating factors activate the prothrombin into thrombin, then the thrombin converts the fibrinogen into fibrin fibers. All these fibrin fibers what form a network and closes the wound. This is how the blood loss is prevented. Hence, it is a series of a mechanism of overlapping which involve the vasoconstriction, narrowing of the blood vessels, formation of platelet plugs, the collagen fibers exposed to the platelets form a complex which release the secretion. These secretions attract the platelets to nearer to it. They become sticky. And what forms the platelet plug formation? The third is the formation of web of fibrin fibers. It involves the collagen fibers exposed to the platelets. These activate a factor responsible for the prothrombinase. Then prothrombinase convert the prothrombin into thrombin. Thrombin act upon the fibrinogen and convert it into fibrin fibers. All these fibrin fibers network what forms a web and closes the wound. Thank you.